Hey, what's up everyone? So I figured in this video I would take you guys through my most recent upper body workout. Yeah, that means I'm no longer following the bro split that I outlined in the last video. I'm now following a upper-lower split. So it goes upper, lower, rest, or optional rest, upper, lower, rest, and then repeat the cycle. I'm not going to get into the details of the split yet because honestly I haven't really started it. I just kind of was intuitively training over the holidays, and I did actually take 4 or 5 days off from training altogether. And so this is just my first workout back in the gym. This was actually on Boxing Day. So yeah, you guys would have just seen that I like to kick off my workouts with some lat pull-ins. I find that this is just a good way for me to really establish a good mind-muscle connection with my lats before getting into the main compound movement, in this case, which was a row. And you'll see that I was doing the movement with the underhand grip, which sort of allows me to target the lats a little more through shoulder extension. And yeah, so with the rows on this day, we did I think it was 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps, and we worked up as high as 205 pounds. And I also wasn't using straps on this day just because I forgot to bring them, so I had to lighten the load just a little bit because of that. And then you're seeing here a drop set, so we stripped it back to 135, and then I think I banged out another 10 or 12 reps again. So coupled with the lat pull-ins beforehand, this was a pretty good way to get a good lat pump to kick off the workout. And so moving on with the same theme of a sort of lat focused workout, next we moved on to lat pull downs, and you'll see what I'm doing here at the beginning. This is kind of just something that I like to do before I do pull downs, just to really kind of get a stretch in the muscle. And I sort of just think of it as something like what you'll see NBA players do when they shoot free throws. It's just kind of like a little routine that gets them into what they're about to do and mentally prepares them for the set. So yeah, that's just one of the little things that I like to do. And I guess now would be a good time to talk a little bit about my new training split. So I won't go into too much detail, but basically, I mean, if you saw my video on bro splits, you probably took away the message that research shows that training frequency probably does have an effect on hypertrophy independent of the amount of weekly volume that you're able to handle. So even if you match weekly training volume, there still seems to be some effect of frequency on hypertrophy. And so training a given muscle group 2 or 3 times a week is probably better than hitting it only once a week. But then I also say that I think that variety and novelty can be extremely important when it comes to things like motivation and enjoyment, and then those things can play into effort, and people tend to push themselves harder when they're doing something that's fresh and fun and that they enjoy. So what I've done here is set myself up with blocks of training where I'm focusing on really getting a good pump, feeling the muscles work that I want to work, giving myself the opportunity to really hit my arms hard on an arm day, and just take advantage of that increased enjoyment that you get out of a bro split. And then after running that for a couple of months, what I'm doing now is switching to a higher frequency training program where I'm able to reap the benefits of increasing frequency. And if you've seen that video, you'll see that I do think that the novelty factor, where in the studies that show an effect of frequency on hypertrophy, they tend to be running bro splits from baseline, and it may just be the fact that the training program is novel. And so I wanted to take advantage of that novelty factor as well with this new training program, and allow my body to adapt to sort of a new stressor in the increasing frequency. And yeah, things are going great so far. So after the back work, I did a little bit of shoulder mobility work that you would have seen there, and then we jumped into dumbbell shoulder press. So I'll usually switch between the seated dumbbell shoulder press and standing overhead press with the barbell OHP. And what I worked up to on this day was the 90-pound dumbbells, and I think I did that for 2 or 3 sets of 10. So then after that, it was on to our primary chest or horizontal pressing movement for the day, and in this case it was feet up bench press with a flat back. So this was actually something I haven't done in quite a while, but the important things to notice here are that the load is quite a bit lighter, because obviously without the arch and completely obliterating any leg drive, I'm obviously not going to be able to move the same loads as I would with my feet planted and with an arched back, which allows for a higher contact point and shortened range of motion and just a more efficient bar path. So what I'm doing here to really target the pecs is, you'll notice that I'm not really tucking my elbows, I'm flaring them out. I'm keeping constant tension on the bar, or trying to anyway, whereas when I would normally pause, sometimes I would allow everything to kind of come slack and then drive through my heels and press the bar upward. Here I'm focusing on keeping constant tension with the pauses. And pressing straight up and down as opposed to up and back like I would with a powerlifting style bench press. And these were actually a great feel. Perhaps the dumbbells would allow for a little bit greater range of motion, but I do have bench press goals for myself, so I wanted to kind of stay specific to that movement. And I think what I ended up working up to was 205 for 3 sets of 10. And then we moved on to the pec deck. So this was an idea that I got from Josh Vogel, who I was lucky enough to have on my podcast, I guess a couple weeks ago now. And he shared with me the idea of putting a foam roller behind your back when you do dumbbell flies or pec deck. And basically this just allows for greater range of motion, in that you can sort of retract your shoulder blades around the foam roller, or in his case, he's lucky enough to have access to Ben Pakulski's equipment, where they just have like a really narrow bench so that you can just get a little more range of motion out of the movement. And I thought that was a great feel. So if you haven't tried that out, put a foam roller there. I would recommend going light, because your shoulder might be in a little bit of a compromised position if you're not used to going that far back with the flies. But once you get the hang of the movement, I found it to be a really good way to get a really good pump. And then after that, we did the lean away lateral raises. I just find that this is a way I can really feel my side delts a little bit more, and it can take away some of the rotator cuff work that comes into play at the bottom portion of the lateral raise movement. And I do those behind my back, mostly because that allows me to kind of stay in that mid-frontal plane, and like I said, just really target those side delts. After that, it was on to easy bar curls, supersetted with bent over reverse dumbbell flies to hit the rear delts. So for the easy bar curls, or the standing easy bar curls, I was doing sets of 10 to 12 and probably leaving about 1 rep in the tank there, and then going over and doing sets of 15 to 20 on the reverse dumbbell flies for rear delts. And I just superset these for the sake of time, and for the fact that I didn't want the rear delts to get kind of tacked on at the end. I did want to give them priority, so I put them ahead of triceps and supersetted them with the bicep curls, just so I wasn't in the gym all night kind of thing. And then we finished out the day with some overhead tricep extensions with the rope. And I think we did 4 sets of 10 to 15 with these. And this is just a great exercise to kind of preferentially target the long head of the triceps, so not the horseshoe shaped part, or the part that you see in the side tricep more so, but the kind of inside part that really adds the sort of beefiness to the arms in a front double bicep, say, for example. So I love this exercise. So this is the first physique update I guess I've done in a couple of months. So this is coming to you after Christmas Day and turkey and all that stuff. I guess we could say this would be a peak bulk look. and I haven't been tracking calories for the last 2 months, and I do plan on doing that starting in the new year. And the reason for that is just because I really want to ensure that I am getting enough protein in, that I'm not overeating, and that I'm eating as much as I can while staying on track with my weight goals. Just as a quick update, I did gain 20 pounds since my contest. So I competed at 150, and now I'm sitting at around 170. It didn't take me very long for that weight to go on. I just kind of ate until I got to my set point, which seems to be here around 170. And then I just held tight there, and the binging sort of just stopped naturally once I got to that weight. And at this point, I just kind of eat intuitively, so I eat until I feel full, and I don't eat anymore. And as I've said in previous videos, I sort of just put a protein constraint on myself where I try to eat some protein bolus of 30 grams or so every 4 to 6 hours. So guys, that's going to conclude this video commentary. I hope that you enjoy the footage, and I hope that you enjoy this last clip. We're back from the gym, and got a post-workout meal on the griddle here. So we've got turkey bacon, 4 pork sausages, some scrambled eggs. So in here is two whole eggs and about 300 grams of egg whites, and Robin and I are going to split that. And I figured I'd quickly show you some of the things I got for Christmas. The only thing I really ask for Christmas is usually books, supplements, and clothes. So this is my massive stack of books. Well, that one's Robin's. I got that Mindy Kaling book for Robin. And the rest of them are either on philosophy or psychology or business for the most part. So that's the kind of stuff that I usually like to read. So I'm gonna try to get through 2 books a month. Yeah, 4 or 5 months, I should be able to get through those. And Robin got me this lovely book as a gift. So yeah, I won't be reading that one. My brother got me a new mini tabletop tripod, so this thing is pretty handy for filming at the gym. Muscular Development magazine, they have a very good research section. They have this section where they review, generally speaking, pretty recent research, and they just give kind of like little blurbs on it. The interesting thing is though that you'll see this section where they review the research, and then on the very next page you have all this nonsense about test boosters and fat burners and stuff. So for someone who isn't familiar, it might be difficult to be able to filter through that, but yeah, if you know where to look, there's always good stuff in MD. So I got a bunch of clothes. I won't show it all to you guys, but some Lululemon compression pants, some Lululemon sweatpants, Adidas sweatpants, blue t-shirt, and then I have these black shorts that I was wearing tonight with the compression. These kind of like no-show socks from Forever 21, and one of these shakers. So I haven't actually used one of these before, but I've seen a lot of the other YouTubers use it. So how do you pronounce that? Umoro. And then my stocking. Oh, this is Robin's stocking. This one's mine. Some socks. More hair stuff. More, I don't know what this is, hair volumizer. I've literally never used that, but after shave spray from Johnny B. I like the Johnny B line of products. So, and some hair stuff. This is probably one of my favorite bars. It's kind of just like nougat with gumdrops in it, and this bottle opener pretty much covers all the stuff that I got for Christmas. And guys, that is going to conclude this vlog, so thank you very much for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor and hit the like button down below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.